Hello everybody, there are a couple of things I want to speak to you about. After my last video, I had a lot of comments and very supportive ones for which I'm very grateful. But many people said that as only Georgia did anything for the equines during the pandemic. I want to correct that because it's not altogether true. There are some wonderful little associations around Morocco who did take some equines and worked with us and really helped, and hats off and credit to them. And I'm not going to name them all now, but I promise you there were a lot of people in Morocco who did help. And also it is absolutely fair to say that Spanner have said publicly that they worked during the pandemic and treated horses and donkeys and mules, and I think that must be acknowledged. I think that sometimes the problem gets so great, it's overwhelming, and it's almost human nature that you give up. We know what that feels like. So I'm going to tell you what happened last night, because it's a sad story, but a very important one. About early evening, I got a phone call from a super young woman. She sounded young anyway, young French woman in Essaouira, who had found a donkey by the side of the road, couldn't stand up, and it had a broken leg, and asked if we could help. Now, I said, understandably, we couldn't come down to Essaouira then, it was evening, to try and find someone in Essaouira, and we would always help in the long term. But she needed to get a vet. She sent me the photographs of the donkey, and quite clearly I let the boys look at it, and the bone was so badly broken, it was actually sticking out and it was beyond repair. And those of you that understand equines will know that the kindest thing in those circumstances is to euthanize. And I said that to her, and she was incredibly sensible, but couldn't get a vet to answer any of her phone calls. So we telephoned our amazing vet, who I have to say, we just wouldn't survive without him. And he's the sort of man who doesn't want publicity, doesn't want praise. He thinks that's unprofessional. He's here to do a job and he does it to the best of his ability. And we said, please, could he help? And what he did was we had photographs going back and to by WhatsApp, and he got in touch with a vet in Essaouira. We got the location, and he said, leave it to me, I will make sure a vet gets there. And true to his word, a vet did. And it was a lazy vet who arrived a couple of hours later after she'd finished working somewhere else. And she was able to euthanize the donkey, and we said, and I know you'd agree with me, we will carry the cost because the medication for euthanizing a donkey is in the region of 850 dirhams, about £74. That was done. And she was able to garner some people around her, and arrangements were made to deal with the body. And it was the best possible outcome. It would have been so cruel to bring a donkey up in that amount of pain to us when we'd have had to euthanize anyway. So hats off and thank you to Dr. Foward at our end, and to the lady vet in Essaouira who did turn up and did what was necessary. But I heard, and I want to deal with this quite delicately really, I don't want to upset any more people than I've upset already, is that the vets in the area, the general view is, and I'm mortified, if it's an abandoned animal and they can't guarantee payment, obviously, why not just take it down close to the beach and abandon it there? So I was a bit upset to hear that, but we didn't have to do that. So now I think what we have to do is, between us here in Morocco, with the really good support I've got now, and with Dr. Foward's help, build up a network of vets we could contact in emergencies, and we would undertake to finance that medication, but that we could have animals put down in a humane way if they're abandoned. And we would also require help from Moroccans, because when an animal is euthanized, the vet really is very troubled by leaving it by the side of the road in case wild dogs come along or other animals and are affected by the medication it was given. So really the best thing to do is to get people willing to come and dig a big hole, and hopefully the animal would then rest in peace. So that was, although sad, the best outcome. And I think what it shows is that given an impossible situation, a phone call at 6 o'clock in the evening when everyone's gone home, and I'm feeling pretty miserable anyway, it's just too easy to say, there's nothing we can do. There is always something we can do. And if everybody did a little bit and we cooperated with each other, we could do big things. We are big enough and strong enough now to help to support people out there in other areas of Morocco, and the Moroccans know that we are very approachable. I perhaps would like to say some more about how people do try to help animals here. My own belief is, and I'm not going to go into detail now, it can only be done by people on the ground here who have good relationship with the authorities to avoid any exploitation. And I hope people understand what I mean. So that was that. We're now on to Friday, which is always a quiet day because it's the men's day off. And I'm very, very pleased to tell you that we have visitors tomorrow, and some of the Kalesh men are coming up to see to our horses' hooves, the ones whose families have had really good Kalesh horses for generations. They are wonderful and very supportive of us, and we'll be very pleased to see them tomorrow. And I hope to take a little video of it all, or get somebody else to do it for me because I can't at the moment. And we'll post that tomorrow. So good night, everybody. Goodbye.